Today we are here with the first review of The War Within, and this is a very different review. Normally we focus on Mythic Plus, you guys know that. This is not a Mythic Plus. Obviously Mythic Plus isn't even out yet. This is a normal dungeon, and what I'm going to show you guys today is something I really want your thoughts on. You see the title of the video. What I'm asking you with that is, if you found yourself in this position of the fifth player, how would you feel about this? What would you do? Just be truthful. No reason not to be. I think this is an interesting discussion no matter what side, whether you rage, whether you instruct, whether you try to be calm and observe. Just tell me the truth about this, because I think this is a problem that's honestly endemic with the game. It shows you guys probably what the reality is for new players in this game. Let's put it that way. I'm going to set this up and tell you guys that this is an incredibly popular YouTube channel that is playing World of Warcraft. There's 4 of them together, and then the healer is a pug, and they're doing a normal dungeon, the first dungeon they've ever done. 3 of them have never played the game before in their lives, from what I could tell. The person who is on like the face cam here recording this, he has played the game. I was looking through, it looks like he's played like some mop and before that as well. I don't know about recently. Thought this was a very interesting piece of footage to review, because you don't really see this perspective ever, and I think the way it goes down is, you know, we could laugh at it, we could also learn from it, but honestly it's such a unique piece of footage. It's like seeing a unicorn in the wild. Like, you never see footage from somebody who is like willingly putting out high quality content that is playing the way these guys are playing. On the top right of the screen, pay attention to the time. This is a normal dungeon, so we don't have the luxury of the Mythic Plus timer. We're not gonna be able to see like deaths and how long this takes, but you can tell how long it takes because there's an in-game clock. So they start the dungeon at 11:20. Just keep an eye on that throughout the footage. We'll come back to that. They got 4 guys pretty much playing the game for the first time. 1 guy's played the game before. This is what the dungeon looks like. We actually have a DPS chart on the screen, which is very rare. I think like new players typically don't understand that that might be something somebody might want to see. And yeah, I think you're going to see immediately some of the problems here. Again, I'm not doing this review to critique their gameplay, but it's just such a shocking thing to see. So yeah, as of the very beginning of the dungeon, it looks like the tank was probably not familiar. There he is running backwards there, not familiar with what like any part of the dungeon looks like. So he's like not prepared to pull the trash, and everybody kind of pulls the trash, and it just devolves like hardcore. Like we got mobs all at the entrance, and one of the funniest things I've ever seen happen, you can see the hunter towards the right of the screen. Watch what happens with this character. The rogue dies, the hunter is like backpedaling away from trash, thinking maybe that will get him to safety, and in so doing he actually walks out of the dungeon portal. Probably less than 90 seconds has gone by here, and this is what the dungeon looks like. Again, think about it. 4 people who are all together, and you're the healer. You look at the DPS chart, the healer is basically doubling everybody else's damage. And this is why I wanted to make the video, because there's a lot of people out there who are just learning the dungeons for the first time, and they're feeling oppressed by, you know, individuals in the runs with them. Now, luckily, these guys, like I said, are 4 versus 1. So if a healer did put some kind of pressure, like social pressure on them, they would probably win any argument. And, you know, if you ever watch these guys' content, obviously this is a big part of their humor and their brand. So it's probably never going to come to that. But, you know, could you imagine if it was truly 4 people who were just trying to play the game for fun and enjoying it, what this might feel like to be seeing this type of failure? Now, I think a lot of people probably don't actually know what they're looking at in terms of failure. If you've never played the game before, you probably have no idea. I'm assuming whoever edited this does have an idea, though. They have multiple healers leave them. Okay, now the edit shows like, I think the number ultimately gets up to like 14 healers leave. As you see, they have a new monk. We can't count, we don't have the raw footage here, but I'm gonna take their word as probably exaggeration. Like, I assume they did not actually count 14 healers leaving. But again, if you look at the actual in-game timer, you never know. That might actually be the real number. I think the way the game grows organically, though, is when new players find themselves in this situation where they're genuinely not aware of what they're doing. People who should be able to help them actually do so. At no point in this footage does anybody actually say any type of words of encouragement or really anything at all. Again, it's heavily edited, so we don't know every single conversation that might happen, but almost nothing ever gets said in any type of instructional way. Obviously, if you're looking at the DPS chart, you know, you see even the healing priest doing only 20k. Now, I think this brings up a bigger question here, because these are obviously 4 boosted characters. Again, the rogue actually has played, this is his original character from what I can tell, and he just probably got the boost gear that you get when you haven't been online in a long time. But these characters are straight up just like not pressing globals for like 50% of the encounter, doing stuff like this where the tank is just like backpedaling into more trash. They are going to actually wipe to this, and you know, at the time of doing so, you see the healer is actually the top DPS in the group at 22k. So my question to you is, if you guys have ever actually boosted a character, what is like the maximum theoretical damage that that character can do? I'm not fully understanding exactly what kind of gear they're getting because I've never really been a part of this culture where you're, you know, just picking up a character and taking it right into group content. I get it. They're not really pressing spells, but like, is 40k a tenth of what could be done? Like, or I don't know. I'm not really sure what kind of gear you get from boost nowadays. To me, it almost feels like Blizzard setting them up for failure, because I'm looking at their character on the armory and it's like, wow, this is garbage gear. Like, this character is so bad compared to people who would have been playing in Dragonflight, that if they actually did compare themselves to each other, they'd probably feel really, really bad about themselves, and they might quit because of that. So the healer, the priest, who is at least the third healer, he leaves. Now they got a fourth healer. Again, the edit says that this is their 7th healer, or perhaps their 8th healer, and they're actually going to kill this boss this time. They're still trash up, right? Cautionary tale: when you're new to dungeons, clear out the entire room. Don't ever try to do what these guys did here, where they're only pulling the boss. You're going to get away with it. I mean, this is actually shocking to me because I've done very few normals, but the few I have done, it's hard to believe that this is this difficult. And I don't know how many deaths there are, but as you see on the screen, the person who is recording this, their gear is almost entirely broken. So you got to imagine that's at least 5 full deaths. Now, the funny part is they are going to kill the boss. They fight this trash, and you see Blub, the top damage on this trash currently. He's now no longer in the group. So they have another counter on the screen saying that they're now on their 8th healer. That guy just left, presumably because he saw the DPS chart. I don't know. I like I said, you guys tell me, if you were in this position, what would you do? If you were almost like a bystander in this situation, what would you do? Would you lend aid? Would you, you know, laugh? Would you ridicule? Like, just be truthful. It's totally fine, because I'm actually eager to hear what people are saying about this. So anyway, the new healer, you know, no problems at this point, but they're now 30 minutes into this dungeon and they've killed one boss. We fast forward in the video now to 12:07. So it takes them like, what's that, 16 minutes to clear all of that trash in those 2 hallways. To me, if this is a true number, it's that people are simply leaving because of DPS. I can't see any evidence that they're failing to this trash. Like, when they're fighting it, you see like it's not even really that difficult. Like, watch, the shadow stuff is on the ground. Fellas are just standing in it for multiple ticks. Look at the health pools. Nobody's even dying. Look at this. They're just bathing in this, right? One person finally dies. He just dies to like very low chip damage from standing in that mechanic. He's instantly gonna release, and they're gonna wait for him. They wait like at least a minute, it looks like, and I think maybe they get baited. On the minimap, you see the character, the dot is near them, but he's actually on the upper level, so he's not there. So now they are going to pull without all 5 players here, okay? And again, you could take a look at the hunter. He is kind of just not, I'm not really sure. I think at this point his gear is totally broken, because if, you know, the rogue's gear was totally broken, or to the point where it was very close to being totally broken, I'd imagine everybody's gear has now broken to some degree. Whether or not they're aware of it, I don't know. But as you see, the hunter up in the corner actually just not doing anything, not even on the chart right now, just kind of gets hit by that mechanic, and then they kind of cut away and he's dead. So I assume he probably just died in that corner. Did 11,000 damage to this boss, and the boss is going to die. That's how easy normal mode is. Another thing that's shocking about this footage is just like how easy this content actually is, that they're able to clear it with basically, I mean, I don't even know that this equals 1 normal DPS. The 3 of them together, I mean, at this point they have effectively a quarter of a DPS here, and now he's dead too. So they're gonna solo save it, and they're gonna be really excited about that. I want you guys to hear what that sounds like.
Let's go, Dad!
Die! Heal me!
I can't even see his health bar.
Bro, it's so low. It's so low, bro. It's like 2 more hits, bro. Heal me! He's healing.
Yeah.
No, you got it. You got it. You got it. Yeah!
No.
Shall I release spirit?
There you go. Nah, Dez might be the mightiest warrior.
I'm sure part of it is for, you know, the theatrics of the whole video in the first place, but it's just cool to see, man. It makes me think of a different time in WoW, where it was okay to be a new person, and it felt that good when you finally overcame something. And it kind of, honestly, kind of warms my heart, because it feels like, wow, it's a reaction that is something that would not normally happen. A lot of people would look at this, you know, with their head down, like, oh, I can't believe how much we failed at this point in the game. These guys are genuinely having fun with it and kind of succeeding despite all odds. It's actually really shocking that they're able to clear this dungeon, and it shows you just how much kind of bad play a normal dungeon can sustain. Like, truthfully, have you guys ever seen this level of ineptitude in any content before? I've never seen, I genuinely don't think I've ever seen this, and it's shocking that they're still able to succeed. I think that says something else entirely. But as you see, like, this was the previous boss, right? So they did this. There's the healer, right? We're talking about all the healer situations here. He actually reses them, which which is really funny. This is at 12:14. The next cut is at 12:23. 9 minutes later, they have another healer. This is not really that much trash. Takes them 9 minutes. They're pulling this trash at 12:24. 12:32, they're ready to fight the boss. They're about to wipe here pretty much. 12:33, pretty much like everything's falling apart. They're not handling the ads properly. Here's another cut. 12:47, another healer here. They're kind of making a little progress. Like if you watch the video, it does sound like they're learning a little bit about the fight. They're brainstorming on how to improve. And then at this point, it kind of gets a little wacky. I guess maybe to ham up the commentary in the video, they start blaming the healer, which is really funny because this guy also done 0 DPS. I think like if you're a healer in this group and you got people not auto attacking for like 30 minutes at a time, you probably want to just put up flame shock. But hey, that's a different conversation for a different day. So the guy's going to say something in, I imagine that's Spanish. Let's take a look at what it actually says when you Google translate it. Obviously either some kind of slang or some kind of typo. You guys, if you do speak Spanish, please let me know if you understand what this guy's actually saying and what Google Translate is getting wrong. It says it's just that they don't stick, or when I read this, my first inclination is thinking that the guy's talking trash in some way. I don't really understand like the nuance of what is being said or why it would being said. None of that makes any sense to me. But yeah, they're kind of gonna jokingly blame the healer. Comment gets said like the guy may not be at fault, but he's not good enough to carry us, and they're gonna kick him, which is kind of rough to watch. After presumably many healers coming in and out, they're actually gonna kick somebody, and that we're now at 12:50 at this point. 12:50. Again, back to the start of the footage. 11:20. They're an hour and a half into normal dungeon and they're not finished with it. So 8 minutes later, healers that quit on his counter, that comes back on the screen. It makes me think that they got multiple healers in that 8 minutes and they all left and maybe had more pulls and wipes. They got this guy. He's going to stick with them. He's actually doing damage too. Good. This is really nice. The only one who's actually going to conversate with them to some level. And I think this is why I wanted to make the video so much, because I saw this and it made me think like, man, if any of these guys actually tried to help or tried to instruct, I think this could have gone so different, and it probably would have been a different video for these guys. You know, this is a 1-point-something million sub YouTube channel that is producing content for World of Warcraft. Blizzard is obviously putting out the feelers for influencers to try to cover the game that don't normally do this, and these are the results of it. Like, I think this is bad all around. You know, the person publishing this isn't necessarily representing the game in a very healthy way here by doing this, but the fact that the person who is not being paid by the company to play the game is kind of cycling through these dungeons like over and over again, new healers, not contributing, not really saying anything. I don't know if that's more damning than the actual footage. I don't know. But the guy says, what is that damage? Hunter, did you even have your pet summoned? And yes, a astute eye will have noticed that the person playing the hunter had never had a pet out. He's based on, I think that's Skada, by the way. Based on the Skada chart there, he is actually playing Beast Mastery Hunter as well. They're reacting to this in the video now that, you know, they're all very, very, very low DPS, but he's basically, I don't even know what spells you have as a BM Hunter if you don't have a pet out. 102 at this point, 108 now, so 6 minutes have gone by. There's obviously some conversation happening. You could see it on the screen, and I don't really know what gets said originally. The shaman says, have you looked up a guide? You should be using like significantly more damage. He says you should be using like significantly more damage. It's a Storm Rage shaman, so yeah, anyway. That leads me to believe, and like how much time went by and the healer didn't leave or anything like that, that leads me to believe that there was some moment going on. Up until that point, I see no actual evidence for it, and you know, again, we don't have the raw footage, so we can't really see what went on in this nearly 2 hours they're in this dungeon, but you got to assume that at no point did anybody actually look at the damage chart and just say like, hey guys, you know, if you used spells, you'd be doing better damage than we would have been done an hour ago. But yeah, they are actually going to successfully kill the boss here. Again, kind of despite all odds. Like I said, like what worse can be done? Even the tank doing 17,000 DPS, it's only gonna, I mean, if you came as a tank with that DPS, you would lose threat to like most healers, right? I just don't necessarily know if a lot of this is scaling, if a lot of this is the situation with pre-mades, like the gear that they're getting given. I don't really know, but you see how excited they are. I'll let you guys listen to that too. Before we do though, I just want to highlight again what's said in the chat. The shaman actually congratulates them. He does congratulate them, then says this, look up a rotation guide. They need more help than that. The shaman says it'll help out a lot, but he does say great recovery, attaboy rogue, good luck everyone. Great ending to this. Again, I want you guys to hear the adulation, the exultation. They are legitimately excited about this one way or the other.
Get to him, get to him, get to him.
I got a crystal on me. I'm about to break him.
Oh,
I'm about to kill him, I'm about to kill him, I'm about to kill him.
Get him, get him! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's get it! Let's go! That's how you do it!
Yes,
Let's go!
Why?
So I don't know, when I saw that, I knew I wanted to feature this. I knew I wanted to show that there are moments for new players out there that can still be exciting, even if, the dungeons are set up in a way, like I think a lot of people criticize the game that like, they never really learn anything. And I think really the biggest critique I can give Blizzard here is that you kind of set these people up for failure. Like, I get it, you're just after whatever their influence is on them playing the game, but they don't really know what they're doing. You give them characters that are like well above the competency level that they should have. Back in the day, you would have had to level this character, you would have learned about these spells, you would have put a talent point in at a time and read the spells. It's pretty clear to me that, these guys probably did not fully pay attention to what anything about their class was offering them. And obviously they don't understand the core mechanics of what a dungeon should look like, where you're, regularly trying to press globals of damage and move out of mechanics and help each other survive and do things that are what we believe to be conducive to success. And I know this isn't a Mythic Plus or anything competitive. And like I said, I'm not trying to bash on anybody, but the fact that the other people in the group, the healers that keep cycling in and out, none of them can really get them over the hump either. Let me know what you guys think about this. I thought this was a really interesting, almost like kind of like a human interest story for World of Warcraft. And it's good to see influencers like this who don't normally dip their toes into the game covering, wow, I think this is a really healthy time for World of Warcraft. There's a lot of rumor and rumbling about this game now having the highest amount of subs ever. I guess that's in no small part due to China returning. This feels like a second rebirth for World of Warcraft. Legion was the first one. The War Within is the next one. The game's never been better, and I'm really happy to see situations like this where new players are meeting the content and enjoying it. Just let me know what you think. How would you react to this? And I think, like, just reflect on that. Would you be willing to help these guys? Would you be willing to carry these guys? Would you be quick to leave? Would you leave as soon as you see their damage? Like, how would you react? I just got to hear that. We got a lot of videos coming. There's been a really crazy amount of stuff going on this week, so I have a lot to talk about. Stay tuned in the coming days. And then next week, we'll be back. Hopefully the servers won't be down all day Tuesday. If you guys are out there running runs, running into crazy moments like this, right? Like, this is what I'm saying. You're never going to get submitted this. Nobody is ever going to send me footage of them doing like 20k DPS on a boss in 2024, right? Like, that's just not going to happen. If you guys are out there and you see crazy stuff going on that you think is worth even just commentary, maybe not even just review, please send it to me. We will do our best to elucidate it, spread the word on things that are valid, and help people learn and just celebrate the victories that they deserve to celebrate. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.